Now, obviously, on shows, we like to get people involved, we like people to call in and stuff like that. And sometimes people do, but today is going to be an actual show where people get the chance to call in, maybe a little bit more than often.
Absolutely. We want to hear from the community today, and I'll do my best Cody Rhodes impression. So, what do y'all want to talk about?
That is brilliant. That is brilliant. Of course, yeah, we're doing the call-in show. People can obviously call in, talk about whatever they want. The thing is, we don't even know what we're going to talk about, right?
I have no idea what we're going to discuss. We didn't talk about any subject prior to this at all, and that is very exciting to me because I like to work off the cuff. So let's just throw it out there and let's just do the damn thing.
Of course, intern, you know the rules by now. Roll the intro. And welcome to episode 138 of the Magic of Wrestling podcast. I'm, of course, one half of the host, Liam Wakeland.
And I'm the American half of the equation. I am the effing expert, Mr. Isaacs. Good afternoon, everybody.
And, of course, Mr. Isaacs, as always, it's our weekly catch-up. How you been, man? All right?
Yeah, man. I had the kids this week. It was very busy. My eldest child had an ear infection. Had to go pick him up from school the other day, and so loads of fun dealing with that. But we are reconvening like we do every Saturday morn or afternoon, depending on where you're at in the third rock from the sun here, to discuss some wrestling. I know Tiffany likes when I call it that.
Of course. Now, weirdly, I want to start off with something a little bit different because the intern sent me something through my email this week, and I just want to get your thoughts on this because I don't know what to think of this. Have a listen.
No, this is episode 82.
It's funny because he was a guest on Magic of Wrestling, and I go, Liam, why don't you get Jeremy be your co-host?
Yeah.
And that's actually how it happened. I said, he's awesome. Get him on.
Yeah. I remember, Liam was telling me, he was like, I could try to do a Liam accent. I'll give it a shot here. Oh, yeah, your episode has been noticed, and people are saying good things. They might want to bring you in. I'm like, oh, okay. And see, I've always wanted to be a podcaster too. Like, I've always wanted to do radio. Like, I grew up wanting to be a radio DJ. I've said this before. And
you know what's so funny about that Liam thing? It makes it sound I'm way more important than I am.
Yeah, like you've been noticed. Like I'm gonna get some kind of like fucking like Nobel Peace Prize or something. Like, hey,
what the hell's going on?
Dude, when we get on these after dark shows, like we just riff into some nonsense. Like it's so funny. But yeah, like he's like, yeah, you made it sound like you're getting some kind of big award or something. Like, yeah, I'm trying to get a Nobel Peace Prize. It's like, no, you could come on and do wrestling shows on YouTube with us.
I don't give a shit about that. I'm on about the impression thing. I don't even sound like that.
Well, that's my general Brit impression, right? Like I did the same thing with Nigel. Remember when I did a Nigel impression?
Yes, I do.
That's like my general British impression. So don't be offended by that, my man. It's just how it is. That's how a Kentucky boy hears Brits when they talk.
I'm just thinking I don't sound like that. You know what I mean? But yeah, if you want to blame somebody, blame the interns for that. They sent me that to my email. And
now I need to know which intern snitched on me. Like, was it Julie?
I can confirm nor deny, but she makes a good coffee.
Julie, you and I are going to have a discussion after this, sweetheart, because, I don't appreciate a snitch. We don't do snitching here at Effin' Wrestling, all right?
No, we don't. Right then, enough rambling on, enough bitching. Should we get into part one?
Let's do it, my man.
Here we go. This is part one. We call
The Magic Weekly.
Now, of course, the Magic Weekly is brought to you by our very first sponsor, which is, of course, FTW Wrestling. For $250 a month, you can learn from two of the friends of the show, Brian Idle, Natalia Markova, and if I remember rightly, Mr. Isaacs, Largo, Florida?
Largo, Florida. You are correct, good sir. Get the bright sunshine from the Sunshine State itself, Florida. Go down there and learn how to wrestle.
To give you guys a little insight, here's a video.
Determination, perseverance. These are the qualities that make a champion. Do you have what it takes to be the next wrestling superstar? Are you ready to turn your dreams into a reality? At Fight the World Wrestling's World Wrestling Academy, we can help you become the champion you were meant to be. Our world travel trainers, Brian Idle and Natalia Markova, are well-known industry professionals with years of experience in the world of wrestling. From the basics to advanced techniques, they are dedicated to help give you the tools that you need to succeed in the ring. Our training program is tailored to challenge you, push you to your limits, and help you discover your full potential. Come join our diverse group of talent. Join us at Fight the World Wrestling's World Wrestling Academy and make your dream a reality. Visit our website or contact us to learn more and start your journey to the top today.
Today, you son of a bitch.
Not tomorrow, today.
Today, damn it.
Now, I want to get the miserable news out the way first. This week, we sadly lost two more wrestling people. Ole Anderson, we'll talk about that one first. I mean, I know the name, but I will be honest, I'm not familiar with much of his career. But Mr. Isaacs, I'm sure you are.
Yeah, is the kayfabe brother of the kayfabe Anderson family. You know, he was the not real, but kayfabe brother of Arn Anderson. Early member of the Four Horsemen. I believe he even used to book Georgia Championship Wrestling or Crockett, one or the other, if I'm not mistaken. But, Ole Anderson was a big figure in the NWA through the 80s. He had a very, very big backstage presence, was involved, like I said, a lot of booking, as well as on screen. He was a wrestler and a member of the Four Horsemen. And here's a little tidbit for those who didn't know. The voice of the Black Scorpion, when the Black Scorpion came out and, was cutting a promo on Sting, it actually was not the guy under the mask speaking the voice. It was Ole Anderson doing his best demonic voice backstage as the Black Scorpion. So rest in peace, Ole Anderson.
Yep, absolutely. And of course, the second one we talked about yesterday, and I want to get your thoughts on it, is obviously Virgil. I hate this on all fronts because I mean, Virgil's got one of the best moments for what I always remember, turning obviously on Ted DiBiase, but over the years, the guy's just got so much stick for whatever reasons, stuff like that. I mean, what's your thoughts on all this?
He was definitely an eccentric character. And I mean, I didn't know the man. I don't know if this was like a legit personality issue he might have had, or if he was just kayfabing everybody. Honestly, he might have just been kayfabing people because he would just post some really funny stuff on social media. And it would just make you laugh. I don't think he was being serious. I really don't. But yeah, Virgil was one of those guys that, he was an ancillary guy. He was a supporting member of the cast, so to speak. GM Joe says my impersonation of you is spot on, by the way. But Virgil was involved in one of my favorite angles from my childhood, which was him standing up to the evil $1 Million Man and turning on him.
Yep.
And I thought that was so cool. I loved that era of Virgil when he finally stood up to Ted DiBiase and knocked him out. And then he came out with kind of the boxer gimmick with the boxing shorts on and had his big match, his big moment with Ted DiBiase, which was the biggest moment of his career. And I always was disappointed that they didn't go further with Virgil. He just kind of fizzled out after that. And I liked when he went to WCW. And I mean, he didn't wrestle very often, but when he was Vincent and he was just kind of like the outside the ring stooge of the NWO, I thought he did a fantastic job with that. He would interfere when he needed to interfere. And he was just always kind of that slime ball on the outside that could interject himself into an NWO match at any time. And I thought he did a fantastic job with that. So I was always entertained by his work. No, the guy was not a main eventer. He wasn't going to set the world on fire in the ring, but he played his role, and I feel like he did it really well. So, R.I.P. Virgil. What are your thoughts on Virgil, Liam?
Yeah, I think the thing is, right, when you think so many moments, I mean, I've just said it there. The thing with Ted DiBiase sticks out an absolute million miles away and stuff like that. And you're on point. Obviously, it wasn't a main event, we get that. But yeah, he's got moments which stick out for us as fans. But after obviously his wrestling career, it just like, I mean, there's so many stories like that. Oh, he only sits at side of like, the big names, stuff like. It's just it just annoys me on that front, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, the guy just passed away. So let's withhold criticisms or pointing out too much of the eccentricity of his personality over the past few years. Let's just focus on the good. You know what I'm saying? Like, DiBiase came out and did a little tribute on Busted Open and basically just took a bunch of shots at him, and it's not good. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Saying he's not a good worker and he scammed people, and he was just so kind. He let him sit with him. Come on, that's just bullshit. Like Ted DiBiase's already kind of exposed himself to me as like not a great guy with some recent scandals that he's had in the past few years, and I thought that was in very poor taste. I didn't like it.
Yeah, so we've actually got our first caller backstage, so I've got a quick question for you, Mr. Isaacs. Whose birthday is it today?
I think, and I heard a rumor that it is the birthday of a certain salty bastard from Scotland. And there he is.
Hello.
Happy birthday, good sir. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Happy birthday, my man.
Thank you. I'm a long time caller, first time listener.
Haney, what can we do for you, my friend?
Just to sort of what you were talking about. Just to sort of elaborate on that sort of situation. It is a difficult one, because I think sometimes we don't know the full extent of what goes on in the background. What was it called? I was at what do you call it? A sort of like talk. What was it, a few years back with DiBiase and Duggan, and Duggan was the one that brought up the sort of similar sort of stories, around that, and it's a difficult one because you don't know what's going on in the background. What Duggan sort of alluded to is because he had the picture with him at the Survivor Series. What was it called? It was being sold as it was going to be the two signatures and things like that, but you don't know about the politics in the back, and it's a difficult conversation to have, especially around this sort of time, What I would say, as I've not seen too much since the passing, but I do know what was they were doing some stuff with him to try and help him raise some money, and I do know DiBiase was involved in that as well recently. So what was it? It's easy to talk bad about somebody, but when they're not here to defend themselves, it's a bit hard to sort of take.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Haney, what do you think to Ted DiBiase's comments on Busted Up and what we just spoke about?
I mean, if he's made that, it's a bit tasteless, but especially in recent week, in recent months, if you go back, the busted guys, they had sort of organised some stuff, to try and get him some money, because he was from what I understand, he was sleeping in a sort of friend's sort of back room. He wasn't doing well at all with illness and other things.
Anything to add to Mr. Isaacs?
Yeah, I wasn't aware that DiBiase had raised money for him, but that's definitely a good thing. Yeah, I mean, Virgil's just one of those guys that I think he's going to be a case study. A lot of people are going to look into his shenanigans over the past decade or two, and say, was he of sound mind? Was he just working everybody, or was he like legitimately crazy?
Can I just sort of step in there? I mean, what we don't know is some of these decisions that he was making. He had his dementia was diagnosed late on.
Yeah.
So we don't know what impact that had. What was it? What was it in recent years? We just assume, and it became this sort of meme online.
Yeah.
So it is hard.
And that's a very good point too, because as somebody who, my grandfather had dementia, and so did my great grandmother for several years before they passed. And a lot of times there's a big gap of time that elapses between when their behavior starts to radically change to you finding out they have dementia. So like he might have had this coming on for several years, and it just didn't get diagnosed until it was kind of at the point to where it could possibly kill them, which inevitably it did. So I mean, that's a real possibility too, and that's a great point that you bring up. Like he might have had this, and this is just speculation here, but he might have had this for several years. That might have affected some of his behavior as well. So we just don't know, and we're never going to know at this point.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's hard to sort of rationalize it, isn't it? Because we know how horrible that illness is. So it's easy to like look back in the moment and find like some of the sort of stories that were told about, like, because apparently it was affecting some bookings of some wrestlers because he says he was going to be there, and then he didn't go. But in his head, he could have been having these conversations. It's a difficult one. So it's so easy now with the internet to go on and sort of bash somebody. What was it called? But it is really hard. It's a really hard situation.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you're obviously hearing it, I've got obviously Anthony Bowen's reaction as well. And this is one, I'll read it out. It says, I remember Virgil cornering me for 15 minutes in a hotel lobby to tell me that when he first got to WWE, they invested $300 million into his character and that he was going to be a world champion, but it never panned out. He always has a crazy story to tell every time I saw him, RIP. Now, one thing with this, Canada Dry told me about this. This was the day he obviously passed away. What do we think, Mr. Isaacs?
I know some people jumped on him and thought that this was meant to be disrespectful. I don't think, and again, I don't know. I don't know Anthony Bowens. I just reading between the lines here, I don't think he meant this to be disrespectful. I think he meant it kind of in an endearing way. Like, Virgil was just that great, crazy old uncle that everybody loved that worked with him. I kind of took it like that. But I don't know. I mean, maybe he was being disrespectful to him. I really don't think so, though. I really don't. I just don't see why he would post something like that trying to mock and make fun of him on the day that he passed. Now, I think that, hindsight being 2020, Anthony might have worded that differently or waited a little while before he elaborated on a story like that. Because it's difficult when you have a character limit and you don't hear the tone of voice. So you're missing a whole lot of context here in what somebody says in a brief statement on X. And it's just hard to decipher. It's hard to tell for sure what he meant. I personally have a hard time reconciling around the idea that he intended to be disrespectful. I don't think that he did, but I don't know.
Yeah, so just on that sort of, Roddy Piper used to tell a story. I went to a few talks of his, and he spoke about Adrian Adonis' funeral, and he never went to another one because he was obviously up there speaking about a great friend and things like that. And what was it called? He told a story, about like what was it? And I guess it's just a sort of friends conversation, around the whole, like, if one of us dies first, what we're going to do, how are we going to party and celebrate, and Roddy felt really, what was it? Because it didn't go down too well with what was it? Adonis's wife, unfortunately, supposedly. Well, the way Roddy picked up on it,
Yeah.
So it sort of, what was it? It sort of left a bad sort of. You watch Go find interviews. He talks about it in a few sort of shooting interviews as well. but I was sort of told the story in person and how he was sort of upset about it, that he felt like it obviously offended the family, but he was just doing what like he was being one of the boys essentially, like bravado sort of scenario. So sometimes it can, you can pick your times, but sometimes it's a challenge, to pick, unfortunate. Some people, you say something at the wrong time, and it can be construed as something else,
Yeah, I think he's on
absolutely.
point there. So, Haney,
Yeah,
before we let you go, are we going to sing happy birthday to him, or are we just going to kick him off?
Well, we can't sing the birthday song. It's copyrighted.
Okay.
Yeah, we
okay.
can't do that. But I will ask though, and just in part here, what is with the inscription of the Power Rangers suck? Do you want to elaborate on that before we let you go?
That was actually, I meant to change that. That was actually last week because Caleb says that Roddy Piper was one of the worst wrestlers.
That's funny.
I would have kicked him out the chat if Anne hadn't already kicked him out the night before.
Why did Aaron kick him out? What's he done now?
I don't know, man. He gets kicked out and comes back. Kicked out, comes back. I don't know. I don't pay attention.
I will say that kid has got a heart of gold. He just sometimes he can do too much for people.
He's all right, bless him.
Thanks for calling in, Haney. We really appreciate it, pal. And happy birthday again.
Thank you. Bye.
And
Bye.
enjoy, mate, my friend.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Now, I didn't realize we're going to have a full-blown 20-minute conversation about Virgil. That was kind of interesting.
Well, yeah, I think it's warranted. Virgil was a big part of WWE history. I mean, the angle with DiBiase and him being DiBiase's manager and all that, and the guy's had a history. He's not a top tier guy, but he was around for decades.
Of course. So we'll stick obviously with WWE, and yesterday was obviously SmackDown. The Rock and the Bloodline challenged Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins to a tag team match at WrestleMania. We've obviously heard grumblings about this for a couple of weeks, but now this looks like he might be going ahead.
Yeah, and I figured that something like this was going to happen. I figured The Rock was going to wrestle involving Reigns and Cody in some capacity on night one. And then night two is, the proper Cody versus Roman rematch. And I like the fact that that they added the stipulation too of, if the Bloodline wins, anything goes. But if Cody wins, The Rock and the Bloodline are completely barred from the arena, which I guess the stadium at this point. So I think that's a good stipulation that adds a lot of value to the main event of night one. It puts The Rock on the card, but still allows Cody to quote unquote tell the story. I hate when things become buzzwords like that, and that's kind of become a buzzword here, but it's true. It's apropos here. Cody gets his opportunity the second night while The Rock still gets to be part of the main event of WrestleMania, technically, in night one in Philadelphia. So I think this is good. I like where this is going, and I'm curious to see how this all wraps up.
Yeah, and the thing is, right, we've obviously heard this terminology, finish the story. Be honest, as a wrestling fan, are you tired of hearing it? Because I am.
Yeah, I hate catchphrase. Well, not really catchphrases, but I hate kind of like taglines, buzzwords like that. Like, I hate that. And the whole, gotta finish the story, gotta finish. It's like, just do it. Just shut up and do it. Like, quit saying that line over and over. It just sounds silly. I don't like it.
No. I just want to throw a what if out. Let's say it doesn't finish the story at WrestleMania 40. What next? I'm just saying, what if?
In that case, they're probably going to wait for Reigns to become the longest reigning champion ever and then have Cody beat him.
Interesting. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, I mean, if Cody doesn't win at Mania, that has to be what they're doing. I mean, they have to be waiting for him to be the longest reigning champion ever and then have him lose.
Yeah, I think that's the only plausible explanation with that, to be honest. I mean, but I don't know now. I don't know if he's going to do it at Mania. This is kind of interesting because in the long run, you could say, well, obviously, like days and stuff like that. I don't know. And that's really stumped me now, I will be honest.
Yeah, I think one or two things I think is going to happen here. I do think Cody's going to win at Mania.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's either going to be the Bloodline wins night 1 and maybe The Rock turns on the Bloodline night 2 and Cody wins, or Cody and Seth win night 1 and then Cody just out wrestles and beats Roman in a fair one-on-one fight night 2. I think one of those two things is going to happen. And I'm kind of leaning towards the first option.
Well, yeah. I mean, who knows? This is really, we never know with WWE these days. Their booking is so unpredictable lately, let's be honest.
And that's good. It's good that the booking is unpredictable because that makes it exciting. That makes it exhilarating. And, you know, I think the way that they're booking this main event picture at Mania, it's captivated me. I'm interested. I want to see what happens next.
Yep, definitely. So we spoke a lot about WWE, but let's head obviously to AEW. And this Wednesday was Sting's final Dynamite. And he got to come down from the rafters again. I've got to be honest, I absolutely smiled when I saw this because it's one of the best things, obviously, by his group. But I just want to get your thoughts on this overall because in WCW, you could say he didn't go out on his own terms. WWE, same reason. Same with TNA. Is this finally now Sting getting to go out on his own terms in a way?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, he waited so long to retire that all of his contemporaries are already gone as active competitors. So, like, he can't wrestle somebody that had, like, real significance to his career. And I'm not a huge fan of the Bucks being the guys to retire him, to be honest with you. But, you know, I understand it. Because, like I said, he doesn't have any contemporaries left.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, he's limited in what he could do. He's 65 years old. I'm glad that he's retiring now instead of retiring 10 years ago in WWE because WWE did not treat him as the legend that he is.
No.
Because it was the blinders of Vince McMahon of if it didn't happen in WWE, it didn't matter. You know, and he was never a WWE guy, so he was never going to get a proper send-off in WWE. He would have in TNA, but TNA was too small time. And so I like the fact that he came into AEW. I was skeptical of it when he came into AEW because I'm like, you know, and I know I say this over and over. He's the same age as my dad. I'm like, what is it going to contribute to AEW at this point? You know, the man's in his 60s.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember just thinking, like, I don't get where this is going. But I think his AEW run has been awesome. Like, I think they use him the right way. They put him in tag matches where he can mostly just get the hot tag and, you know, he can do a little brawling and, you know, that kind of stuff. He doesn't have to do anything too technical or too over the top. And I think his AEW run's been awesome. I think they've utilized him exactly how he should be. And, you know, hats off to the guy, man. He's a legend. And I'm glad to see what happens tomorrow night.
Absolutely. We've also now got our second caller, and you know this guy very, very well. GM Joe, what's happening?
Hey, what's up, guys? So I was going to wait till after the news because this is what I wanted to call in to talk about. But if you're going to talk about it now, I might as well call in.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I'll start with, there's been I was going to call in earlier and talk about some negative stuff, but there's been enough negativity in my life for the last 48 hours with everything going on. I just want to talk positive. So I just want to, we're very fortunate to be able to give our flowers to Sting while he's still around, still alive, because a lot of these guys, we don't get to do that. And the only thing I want to say is I want to say shame on Kevin Nash for not wanting to go to his friend's last match because he values WWE's money over friendship with Sting. Because when he first said it, he made it out to be like, oh, well, my contract with WWE says I can't. When it turns out he just doesn't want to jeopardize his standings and his money. Screw you. You got enough money, dude. Go support. You're one of the, like you said, you're one of the few contemporaries around. Go support your friend.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I saw that he kind of backpedaled on that a little bit, and he's like, well, you know, it's, you know, Paul Levesque is one of my best friends, and like, I don't want to upset him. And, you know, he kind of, he came out with a second statement trying to, like, you know, put out the fire a little bit. But yeah, I agree. I think at this point in his life, I think he should just show up.
Yeah. But back to the positives. In our All Effing Wrestling community, someone shared a video that John Escudero from Dirt Sheet Radio put
Mhm.
out. It was just like all the highlights of Sting and AEW, and like I just sat there and smiled because, like you guys know, Sting's like Shawn Michaels, my favorite wrestler of all time.
Yeah.
He's
Mhm.
I like Sting before Shawn because I was a WCW guy over a WWE guy at the beginning, and like just he's so charismatic. Like even in this Joker Crow Sting, like when he wasn't Surfer Sting, like his charisma just to me shines through. It's so great, and you could tell. Like you were talking about, you don't want the Bucks. You don't think the Bucks should be doing it, but I think I kind of like it because that's one. It's what Sting wanted to do. They're both from Southern Cali.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
That's true.
it's not like I'm just glad, like you said, Sting's getting to go out on his own terms the way he wants to do it.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely agree. Liam, what do you say?
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, I mean, when you mentioned the Crow thing, I always remember when he actually debuted that character, and I'm like, holy shit, what's happening here? But he made it work, you know what I mean? It was something different. We didn't see it, obviously, in thing. And you said it there, his charisma is so huge. He didn't need to say anything. His look could say anything, and then some people could say in a 10-minute interview, and that's what Paul Heyman said.
He went a year on WCW without saying a word.
Yep.
And told a story.
Yep. Just his mannerisms and his presence alone was enough to
Yeah.
keep him over. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Joe, as you're obviously here, what else do you want to talk about while you're here?
I don't know. Oh, yeah, I got one thing because this is so no one in this community, but someone the other day, because I said if it wasn't for AEW, I wouldn't be watching wrestling anymore, which is a stone cold fact.
Yeah.
This guy told me that I should go Benoit myself and my family. If you don't like what someone says, shut your mouth and go about your day. Like,
So stupid.
Wow.
and the worst part is, I was petty, so I reported the comment. I blocked the guy because I don't want nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
Facebook came back and said, "Oh, he didn't do anything wrong." Facebook fixed your AI because clearly he's advocating for violence, and I thought you all were against that.
The algorithm probably doesn't understand what Benoit yourself means.
Well, it shouldn't be an algorithm reviewing this. It should be people, human eyes.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I mean, good Lord, I got banned from a thing for a few days. I had to fight it for saying "go get it" or "go get them." They said I was being violent towards someone.
so stupid.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Zuckerberg, get your shit together, pal.
Basically,
I think the thing is with AEW, you make a valid point there. I mean, AEW was the reason why I got back into wrestling. Do you know what I mean? WWE got stale. TNA was obviously, not in a good place. And I always remember like the first pay-per-view, obviously AEW put out, and I'm like, wow, this is really, really different and gone from strength to strength. And we made some great friends. I mean, if you think about it, this is how we all came together, really.
Yep.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
to that point, we always wanted a billionaire who was a real wrestling fan to step in and compete with WWE. That's something a lot of people wanted for many, many years. And we got it now. And they're not
now they want it to go away.
We got it. And to see everybody kind of like just shitting on it and acting like it shouldn't exist. I mean, do we really want to go back to 2011 when WWE was the only major show in town and it sucked?
Nope.
I don't want to go back to that.
About 6 months before AEW debuted, I quit watching WWE because I watched the Raw, and then at the end of Raw, I said, I just wasted 3 hours of my life. And I never said that about a wrestling show before.
Yeah.
So I quit watching for a long time.
I did that for certain periods of time. Like before AEW started, there were 2 or 3 times that I took like a month or 2 off from watching WWE and then went back to it because it just got so stale. I was like, man, I'm wasting like 5 hours a week watching this shit. And quite frankly, there's better stuff on I'd rather watch.
Yeah.
Right.
The weird thing is the last pay-per-view I watched before I got back into wrestling was TNA Victory Road 2011, and we know how that ended.
Oh, ouch.
Oh dear. So we've all got kind of similar stories, but just different wrestling promotions.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Dear. While you're actually here, we can obviously talk about TNA, and a certain Alexander Hammerstone is officially signed with TNA. I kind of like this. I feel like this is a good move for him and TNA. Joe, what do you think?
I think it's some much needed good press for TNA after everything they've been going through. So yeah, I think it's good for them. Especially once I heard that the Dynasty copyright that AEW put in was for a TV show or a pay-per-view and not a group, I was like, okay, I resigned to there not being the Dynasty in AEW with MJF. So
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. Like you said, like you can't have everybody in AEW or WWE. Because then you get to be where both AEW and WWE have this problem with bloated rosters where you just don't know what to do with people.
Yep. Absolutely.
So
Yeah. Mr. Isaacs?
Yeah, I agree with Joe's point there. I'm so tired of like these really talented guys and like AEW, they just disappear for months. Like they'll work one match and then disappear for a few months and then you'll see them again. It's like, it's the Lance Archer effect. I kind of named it after him at this point because that's typically how it is with him. The rosters are bloated. They are. And, I think that it's going to ultimately be a good move for Hammerstone to go to Impact, assuming they don't just completely go under from all this nonsense fallout with Scott D'Amore leaving. But, he can go there, kind of get a little more presence, get a little more experience. And then when he's ready, go to one of the big two. And, personally, I think the guy's tailor-made for WWE. If they want to build another big jacked guy star, I think he would be perfect for that. So I want to see what he can do in the future. I'm excited to see what he does.
Absolutely. And the thing is, I've just seen now his first opponent is Josh Alexander at Sacrifice. That is going to be an interesting match.
Yeah, absolutely. I love Josh Alexander. That dude is awesome.
Yeah, he's really he brings that old school wrestling, like grappling, and I enjoy watching him. But you know what? Real quick before I go, you know what I would love for AEW to do?
Mm-hmm.
I want them to go back to what Gold and Black NXT did, where not the main eventers, but the undercard, rotate them out every couple of months. So you have a program for this set of people, they're gone, bring in a new set. So that way, it gives everyone an off season, kind of sort of. And AEW is big on letting people go to other promotions. So guess what? While you're not being utilized by AEW for these 3 months, go work Impact, go work GCW, go over to Japan, go do what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that way, there's not this complaint of, they're just sitting and catering, doing nothing like WWE does.
Yep.
Because for some reason, they won't let people leave, even though they're independent contractors and not employees.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Someday, somebody's going to take them to court and they're going to beat that independent contractor status. That's going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right then, Joe, thanks for obviously stopping by. We've got obviously another caller on the line.
Thank you, Joe.
See you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.
Great day, brother. See you tomorrow.
So from one person to another, we have got this guy.
Oh, it's me.
Mr. CD. What's up, man?
Is it a joke here?
What's up?
How's it going, guys?
We're doing all right. How are you?
I'm excited for talking shit about Liam on the Garage After Dark this Sunday.
Oh, God. What do you got planned for poor Liam tomorrow night?
I don't know. It'll be off the cuff for sure. I got to get that Mr. Isaac's impression going again.
You guys are going to get me in trouble with my co-host here.
Did you check out the first thing? What the intern sent me?
Yes, I loved it. It was quite comical. To what I found it funny was it made me sound so important.
Right.
When I'm really, if you guys know me, there's no one more down to earth than me. I don't consider myself of any great importance. I'm like the rest of you.
Okay, and we've actually got somebody who's calling back in. We might as well bring him in. This show's just not even planned anyway. Take it away.
Hey, you know what? Let's all sing happy birthday.
We can't.
Why not?
It's copyrighted, bro. You can't sing that on YouTube.
Oh, screw it. I'm singing it. We'll get a strike. I don't give a shit. All right, you guys ready?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, you salty son of a bitch. Happy birthday to you.
There
It was
we
a
go.
bit off key, so maybe they don't even know, right?
We harmonize better than NSYNC, gentlemen.
Yes. Andy, what can I do for you?
No, I was just, what was it? Phoning in. Obviously, my OCD is a bit affected because Canada Dry's sitting at a sort of isometric sort of view, and I'm asked. I just want to know what that's all about. You're sort of like skewing the sort of.
Well, I didn't set up my computer. I just got on my phone. I'm sitting in my recliner rather than my regular setup.
Yeah.
So that's
You
all.
threw off Haney's perception. How
you
dare
could-
you?
Yeah, because you're used to seeing me a certain way, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely, it's off-putting. I mean, you've
It's
got
off-putting. That
you've
angle
got the
doesn't do you
butterfly
justice,
effect.
Canada Dry.
you've got the butterfly.
So that reminds me of many different things.
That's how I hide my chins. You know, when I don't want anybody to see my two chins, I just sort of like do that.
Well, that's what women do on the Facebook profile. They go up and hey, my boobs aren't sagging anymore.
And then they add about 10 or 12 filters.
Yeah.
So they look like they're 25 instead of 50.
And then you meet up with them. You're like, this isn't the girl I signed up for.
Oh, I've done that. I've done that, by the way.
Yeah.
You've done the
And-
filters or met up with a girl that isn't what she looked like?
Exactly. I met up with a girl which she didn't look like on the without the filters. Let's
Yeah.
just say it wasn't.
Men out there, single men, younger single men, don't trust what a woman's pictures look like on dating apps. All right. It's not
That's
really
true.
them. You got to strip off about 10 layers of filter, and then that's really them.
I essentially got catfished.
It happens, dude.
Well, here's the thing. There's a couple things you got to look for when on like the Tinder, the Bumble, or whatever, Plenty of Fish, whatever you're doing. If it's only a face picture, try to look at like the angle at which they're doing it. You know, try to see the difference in like, does she look younger in this picture? What else? What else do you think?
I mean, just to put some perspective in, I can't even talk perspective into it. Did anybody see Caleb's ex-girlfriend? Whoa!
She looked a little like the Fiend.
Oh my goodness. There was no filter used there at all. You needed a filter.
If I could bring attention to what Shane says in the chat here, I like this. He says, if you want to see what a girl really looks like, take her swimming. There you go. So you can wash off all the makeup and shit. And you see what she really looks like then. You see like really what her body looks like, and you see what her true face looks like with no makeup. That's a good point, Shane.
Yeah, but no girl's gonna want to go swimming on the first date.
Depends on how desperate they are, I guess.
To be fair, dating probably going to change in the near future anyway, with virtual reality headsets getting smaller and smaller. You know, you're going to be dating people with these filters on anyway, because you're going to be letting the headset on, and you know.
We're going to be going on virtual reality dates, and we're all just going to have permanent filters put on. It's coming, guys. It's coming.
It's definitely, well, yeah. It may not if you actually take the headset off.
I have a question for each of you, or more for just Jeremy, Mr. Isaacs, and Alex Haney. Would you swipe right or left on Liam?
Oh God. Well, I'm not bisexual, so I think I'd have to swipe left on him. As much as I love the guy. Yeah.
He loves me that much. He takes fucking piss at me on a Wednesday night.
What about you, Alex? Would you swipe left or right on Liam?
What way is good?
Left is no, thank you. Right is yes. Am I right?
I don't know.
Come on, you got to make a call here.
You go, oh yeah, no, go left, go left.
Even my fucking friends have turned,
Well,
fucking friends have turned me
so
down.
just before you get all disappointed here, Liam, I'm swiping right on you, buddy.
No.
1 out of 3 ain't bad.
You know, like I'm loyal. I stand behind you, buddy.
Yeah,
You know, I might.
Aaron's taking the view that you don't poke the fire. Where you don't poke the fire when you're poking the fire. You don't look at the fireplace, but when you're poking the fire. Sorry, I meant that.
You don't look at the mantelpiece while you're poking the fire, is what you're trying to say.
Well, no, really, what it is, I'm a shit stirrer, and I got you
No.
guys to both swipe left.
No
to
way.
try and paint myself in the best possible light. That's all it is.
You being a shit stirrer? That's not true.
No, not me.
As my nose grows on camera.
There's left and then there's right. There's no ask me when I'm drunk. Is that up?
Ask me when I'm drunk.
You
on
get
drugs.
us all drunk. We're all swiping right on Liam.
Yeah, you get me some good bourbon on a Saturday night, and I'll probably swipe right on whoever. Well,
Now, which brings me to the next thing is that on the Garage After Dark this Sunday night, we're gonna be sipping a little drinky poo.
Oh, okay.
possibly. I don't know. I mean, I do have to work Monday mornings. I don't know. We'll see. But you're free to have whatever you want.
Oh, is it froze? Are they both froze?
did they lock up on us?
No, I'm still here. Aaron's froze.
Aaron's froze.
He's doing his dead.
Oh.
Right, we're gonna have to cut him out because we've actually got another caller backstage anyway.
Okay,
So
we'll see you later. I'll head on out.
All right, man.
Laters.
See you
Thanks for
later.
calling in, my man.
Any sticking by, or you had enough?
I'll stick by. Why not?
All right.
Okay. Now, this is funny. His exact thing was take her swimming. Well, he's actually backstage, so here we go.
El
Hey,
Showtime.
senors. How you guys doing today, senors? Happy birthday to Haney.
Now, El Showtime, do you prefer AAA or CMLL?
To be very honest, I really, really like the Puerto Rico scene a lot better.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Those colognes, man, they're killer in the ring.
They're killers inside and outside the ring, senor.
I can't take it seriously.
I just want to get you guys' opinions about the pay-per-view final lineup tomorrow, what you guys really think about it. I think the Battle Royal itself is kind of, or whatever they call it, the mash matchup or whatever, is kind of too gimmicky, but
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the Sting and Darby Allin and the Young Bucks match.
Yeah, I want to see the Sting send off, and I'm curious to see what they do with the world title in the main event. I think that's going to be a phenomenal match. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking at the card now. There's actually some really interesting matches. Julie Hart, Sky Blue. I think that might surprise a few. Sting and Darby. Obviously, that's the key match there. I have to agree with Mr. Isaacs there. The world title match, absolutely terrific. I don't. To be fair, I will be honest. I don't see one bad match where I'm thinking, "Oh, this is going to be crap." I'm
Are they
excited
doing?
for-
Are they doing Perazo against Storm?
I believe so. I think it's supposed to be for the pay-per-view, and that's one match I'm really looking forward to. Timeless Tony Storm has really got it going on with her gimmick right now.
Yeah, I agree.
And yes, that match is obviously on the card. It doesn't say whether it'll be on the buy-in or the main card, but yeah, that's there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good show. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a step up from World's End. I didn't care much for World's End, to be honest with you. I thought that was kind of lackluster.
AEW's worst pay-per-view ever.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I haven't watched every AEW pay-per-view, but of all the ones that I have watched, that was by far the worst.
Yeah.
I have to agree with that one too. It was really lackluster pay-per-view.
Yeah, and I don't like. I know I've mentioned this before. It's kind of a broken record, but I don't like too how they built up Adam Cole and the Undisputed Kingdom as like the top heels that were like going to wreck shit, and then they just kind of like don't really show very much on TV now, and they're feuding with the best friends. It's like, okay, that was so flat. You took all the momentum they had and just tanked it.
And the fact that they just really dropped the ball in the devil angle. I mean, yeah, we knew it was Adam Cole all along, but they could have done a better way to have Adam Cole. Just him showing up on sitting on the steel chair. That was really boring.
They've done it. They've done it. They've done it a few times. I mean, Paige should have been the first world champion way back at the beginning, and they messed that up. And then people got bored when they finally got it. You know, they did the same. They did the same with Wardlow. You know, they built him up. They gave him that pin over MJF, who ironically the only person that had a pin over MJF at that point that was in the AEW was Statlander.
All right, guys. So I know this isn't a prediction show, but let me ask your opinions while you're here. Who do you think wins the main event here? Who's walking out as world champion? El Showtime, I'll start with you.
I honestly, as much as I really want the Young Bucks to win, I have a feeling that they aren't going to push this whole they're going to push the EVP thing, but they're not going to take the titles and really get all the online hate again. I think what happens is they win the title, or they keep the titles, and then it goes to a tag team tournament, or Darby Allin finds a new partner, possibly. But yeah, I see them winning. I see a lot of interference. I see everybody interfering, from Ric Flair to probably Brendan Cutler. There's probably gonna be some other surprises interfering in this match tonight, one way or another.
Lex Luger, the Ultimate Warrior.
Lex Luger's gonna push his wheelchair out and throw it at somebody.
I have a feeling Lex Luger will be in attendance. That's one person I do think that he will probably be in the front row for that match.
I think so. I know him and Sting had a falling out for a few years, but I think they've reconnected. I think they're back to being kind of close again.
I think after Lex Luger went through his whole change, because don't forget his lifestyle was spiraling out of control like that, especially when he was with Miss Elizabeth. Look what happened with Miss Elizabeth living with him. Ended up passing away on drug abuse, and Lex Luger did not look in good shape back then either.
Miss Elizabeth is actually from the town I live in now, and she's buried about 5 miles away from where I live. So yeah, R.I.P. Miss Elizabeth. Yeah,
she was a very beautiful, talented lady. It was unfortunate what happened to her life.
Of course, I mean, I know it was GM Joe didn't want any negativity, so I'm not going to say too much. But what was it? The story, one of the stories behind Sting is we were joking about it in the chat the other day about how he was the worst wingman ever, because when he got caught cheating on his wife, he basically dropped Lex and was it Rick Steiner in it as well.
He turned them all in. That's why he had a falling out with everybody. He ratted them all out for cheating on their spouses.
Like, all the boys do it.
That was falling out with him and Luger. Like he ratted on Luger to Luger's wife at the time.
Yeah. But I mean, the 90s were wild times of wrestling. Look at the parties Hulk Hogan used to throw in. Literally everybody that was a big name would be at his parties, from the Nasty Boys, the Macho, the Beefcake.
And then there's all kinds of like rumors of like, you know, spouse swapping and that kind of stuff.
People like Genghis Khan and
Genghis Khan.
They were all there. What's it called? It was JFK. He arrived. You know,
was Charlemagne there too?
Yeah, John Belushi, but not Jim Belushi. John Belushi. He was
John
there.
Belushi.
And you know, Metallica used to play concerts in his backyard all the time too. Don't forget about that.
John Belushi was just -2 years old when he was there.
You know, the Shino Y once was told he looks like a Japanese John Belushi, but it wasn't for good reasons either.
I can't imagine anybody like tells you look like John Belushi and means it in a good way.
I've completely lost what we were talking about. We're just on about the 90s.
We're talking about Lex Luger, Sting's the card the main
The
event.
prediction.
Yeah, like, do we think Sting and Darby's going to win, or do we think the Bucks are going to win? I agree with El Showtime. I think that Sting and Darby are probably going to win, and then there's going to be like a tag tournament or something like that. That's kind of what I think is going to happen.
I think the opposite. I think the Bucks are going to win because that's how Sting's a traditionalist, and that's how you go out, you know. And
Yeah.
And to book that, I mean, their whole big trademark that's not been played up in yet is killing the business, you know. So that's still to come out to play. That's still to play out, you know. Maybe Darby turns and then it's not Sting's final match, you know. There's speculation about that. There's all these rumors that Darby and Sting will face each other at All In on the internet. You know, I mean, you don't know where these are coming from, you know. If it's somebody's just like fantasy booking, you know, but that's why Tony Khan's in that position he's in just now, because he was a fantasy booker, you know. So I just can't see it. It doesn't make sense to just leave it and then sort of like forfeit the titles, the tag titles. That just makes no sense, you know. Plus,
does make sense. Yeah, I get what you're saying, and I can see the scenario where they drop the belt to the Bucks, and then they have the little thing afterwards where they slowly get up, and then they embrace, and then, you know, like play up to the crowd, and then Sting's music hits as the show goes off the air. I mean, I could see that too.
And plus, Darby's due to disappear for a wee while because he's got that big climb to the moon or whatever it is he's doing. You know,
he's gonna climb to the moon. He's gonna rebuild the Tower of Babel, and he's gonna leave Earth's atmosphere. That's.
You know what I really would hope they do? Is get Sting's old Crow entrance music, because I don't think WWE has the rights to it. I think that's actually a separate company that made a lot of the WCW music that have the actual rights to it, so they might still be able to get it without WWE interfering with it. I know WWE is not allowing any of the old matches, which is sad because Sting did so much in NWA, NWA 2 before it's WCW, and all that footage is all owned by Titan Towers, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And in terms of imaging as well, what was it? I think you might find that WWE owns some of the face paint design, you know, so it's a sort of precarious place. I was sort of looking into it. So basically, WWE own like everything he's done in North America, apart from TNA and the EAW. What was it called? So really, they've got some like really bad stuff. And I mean, he didn't have a great run in Japan, unfortunately. And there's a whole story around Rick Rude and how that played out and why Rick Rude didn't like him. You know, all the Memphis stuff, I think, still owned by Jerry. And I was like, he's so affiliated with WWE. If they wanted to say, no, you can't use it, he probably would say, okay, no, I don't want to burn that bridge, you know. So there's stuff in Mexico, EEW, probably some Impact. Who knows? The WWE might surprise us and have something in there, you know.
I doubt it.
No, I very much doubt that, to be honest.
If I was WWE, what I would do on Monday night after during the pay-per-view is say, we'd just like to honour a great man who just retired and do a big package for Sting. That would be like a big FU to Tony Khan.
yeah, but
there's your acknowledgement there.
What WWE? They put a package together. It'd be freaking when Seth Rollins injured Sting. That'd be the video package.
Oh, that stupid buckle bomb that he injures everybody with. Ugh.
To be fair, that's sort of heartbreaking. If you actually look at Seth Rollins, what was it story? He is one of the biggest Sting marks there is. You know, what was the absolute man? You know, so. And there's an interview with them, two of them sitting there talking about it, and he's practically got tears streaming down his face talking about it because but it's a dumb move, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and particularly, I mean, no disrespect to Sting, he had a tendency to miss moves a little bit.
Yeah, he's not the greatest technician. I mean, he's not.
Well, you know what? The running power bomb has always been a bad move in history. Look, D'Lo Brown, freaking crippled draws, and that was a running power bomb. He did the draws when he dropped him on his head too.
Yep.
And then Look at the like Finn Balor. Wasn't it? Didn't Finn Balor get buckle bombed to the barricade that caused his shoulder to separate too? So
And that derailed his momentum because he was the first Universal Champion, and he probably would be of much higher stature in WWE right now if it hadn't been for that stupid buckle bomb.
That killed his career. It literally killed his career. But then at the same time, it elevated Kevin Owens too.
Yeah. But that's the thing that I mean that was always a story around Vince McMahon, and everybody says like if you get a push and you don't finish the push, Vince almost holds it against you as a grudge, you know. That's what happened with Joe. I mean, people say that Joe wasn't treated very well in the WWE. He was given 3 big pushes, and each time he got injured, you know. So what Tony's done there and the EW's did it right. It's been a slow burner with the matches, you know, and you can get away with doing that now because of people like Roman Reigns and MJF who really aren't like wrestling every week. They're wrestling every couple of weeks or every couple of months, you know. So, and again, maybe that's it. Maybe that's what we need to do in the future. You talked about what was it, rotation? What was it earlier on? What was it? Was it Joe about that rotation?
Yeah, Joe talked about how the NXT Black and Gold, they basically had some rotations of who was highlighted.
Yeah, I mean, there you've got, you know, what was it? And being able to bring people in. There's Miro. It sounds like Miro's like, what was it? Like, it's sort of on a go up Tony Khan at the moment because obviously he's out injured and he had put him in that match and nobody had. It was the implication is that nobody had reached out to him, you know. So
yeah,
it's all very strange, you know. But yeah, back to the match. But I genuinely think the Bucks are going to win that. I wouldn't be happy with it because I don't like the Bucks, you know. But
that is a good point, though. It's a good point.
Yeah,
you know,
as you guys are obviously talking, I was just obviously reading, and this is the only match on the card where the people are thinking it could go either way.
Yeah.
Which I think we've all agreed with that. Do you know what I mean? This could go either way, but
this is a tough card to predict, I think.
Yeah.
Do you think this will be the actual main event? Because if this is the final match, then
see, I'm thinking the world title will be the main event, but I don't know. They might make the Sting send off the main event.
If the stuff with Sting is the main event, the world title isn't changing hands. It's staying with Samoa Joe.
They did a TNT title main event not too long ago with Darby and Christian. So I mean, I could kind of
yeah.
Nobody watched that though, so don't worry about it. I don't like Darby. What's the pause?
Yeah. The shock.
Liam, I'll hand this back to you. Do you want to go ahead and move on here?
I got to get going. I got to use the washer. You guys, seniors, all have a good day and happy birthday, Haney.
You too.
Cheers.
Thank you guys for calling in. Have a great day.
Cheers. Well,
I've hung out.
You know what? It would be nice to you because obviously it's your birthday. We'll let you just stick around for the whole show, damn it.
Sure. Might as well.
We're at 1 hour and 3 anyway, so should we wrap this up, or is there anything extra we want to talk about, guys?
Haney, you got anything for us? It's your birthday, pal.
Just I noticed you. I seen some of the event that you sort of posted, Liam, yesterday. What was it? Do you just want to give us a wee sort of? What are your thoughts of how that sort of scenes? What was it? Sort of. What was it? Recovering from obviously what happened at 1PW and the sort of the merger between Progress and what was it? And that. What was it? How are you feeling about that? And what was it? How? I mean, you're talking to some of the wrestlers. How were they feeling about that?
So, yes. So you're referring to Richard Young, if I'm correct?
Yep.
So the thing is, Richard was quite open before the show. I said to him, look, a lot of people know you were associated with 1PW. If this question gets brought up, because, I mean, Mr. Isaacs, you know the software better than everybody else. We can see the comments before we display them. So I said to him, look, if this comes up, what's your stance on it? And he said, look, a lot of times, obviously, past, you know what I mean? A lot of people did get hurt. That's well documented. And if it comes up in conversation, then we'll talk about it. And he did mention it a few times, but the thing is now, it's everybody's looking beyond that now. I mean, Progress is doing really well.
Yeah.
Anything, elaborate?
No, I'm just saying. So they're just looking to get the positive out of it now and move forward and sort of rebuild that and get the trust back in that sort of audience.
Yeah, the thing is, the thing is, I mean, when you look past one PW, you've got some great wrestling promotions, working in the UK. You've got Progress, which you mentioned there. We've got BWL, which is Cleethorpes area. We've got even obviously your neck of the woods. You've got some good stuff there. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Planet Wrestle, True Great, Tidal. That's just like 6 I can name off my back. I'm sure there's millions more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was at a great show last Friday as well, locally, and I had, what was it? Grado was there. It was great fun. What was it called? In some ways, I prefer the sort of these shows to the big shows because it's more personal. What was it? There's a bit of more interaction with the fans and things like that, and which is really what it's all about. And it's great to, what was it? They haven't been going to these this particular one for a while. Seen the generations, but was it people that have been going for a long time now have got their kids there, and it's great to see, and hopefully there's some amazing talent in the UK, and hopefully the raid doesn't come too soon like the last time because we've got people like Daz Black and things like that, and that are just tearing it up wherever they go, and what was it? What's that?
See that fucker El Showtime was stealing my beer again. It's a shame.
Dear.
But what was it? You love to see, what was it? These guys make it. I mean, just to give you some perspective, going back to like it was like 2014, 2015. A young skinny wrestler called Will Ospreay wrestling. What was it there? And look at him now. So, and obviously with Drew and all that's been to this same promotion as well. It's just amazing to see. It just makes you proud that the British guys what they achieve.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that because I obviously got the privilege to speak to the guy who actually trained Will Ospreay, and he goes into a story about what it was like when he first came in, and he was known as a backyard wrestler. I mean, Mr. Isaac, you might know a little bit about that.
Yeah, backyard wrestling basically means you're untrained.
Yes.
You're just kind of going in the backyard and hitting each other with trash cans and jumping around on a wood board pretending it's a ring.
Yeah. And then he went in obviously the detail, obviously from backyard wrestling. The thing is, he said that Will Ospreay had it all. All he needed to do was get the backyard wrestling thing out of him a little bit and polish up. And you've seen it. Do you know what I mean? The stuff that for me, it's probably one of the best. I'm just going to say that, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, I joke about it because I'm not a big flippy guy. I don't like the flip flopping and all that. But you can't argue that you can't argue with the stature that he's got. And he was one of the first guys, really. What was it? That I knew. What was it? Sort of had read about in the sort of like UK that wasn't all about WWE. He was about Impact Wrestling and New Japan. His dream was Impact.
Right.
And what was it called? And it's just amazing to see.
Well, what I like about Ospreay is that, he was the skinny kid that did the flippy dippy stuff, but at the same time, he's packed on some muscle in the past 2 years and he's gotten a more technical style. So he still does the spots, but like as a wrestler, he's really improved a lot over the past couple of years. I think Ospreay's amazing, and I want to see what he does now in North America.
I think he had it in him. I think hopefully from what I gather from what he's been saying in interviews, and a few other people like wrestlers have sort of, what was it? I think Brett said that he really liked to look at him, but the kid needs to sort of slow down and things like that.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's took some advice because you want him to be around for a long time. These high flyers tend to be. What was it? I mean, the last one I can sort of put into that sort of stature really with that like raw talent is probably Dynamite Kid, and he was. I mean, go back and look at his footage from like when he first started in sort of Leeds and that, and then going to what was it, Stampede Wrestling. He was a skin, and he's an example of it going bad. Whereas Will's obviously got some people behind him advising him, and he's definitely sort of slowed down, and more so more so for himself. You don't want to, as much as you may not like a wrestler. One thing I hate is on the online community, and is wishing ill health and injuries on people. That to me is absolutely despicable. You know, like don't like the wrestler as a fan. You know, but as you've got no right to sort of judge him that way. You know, what was it called? I know everybody's got a preference, but
yeah.
I've seen some nasty stuff said in recent days about some wrestlers. You know,
yeah,
it's not nice. It really isn't. Nobody should be going through that. You know,
it's ridiculous. Yeah,
I mean, Mr. Isaacs, obviously from the US, you obviously seen Will Ospreay on the New Japan side. I mean, what's your thoughts overall with Will?
I think he's fantastic. Like I said, I like how he's evolved over the past couple of years, and you know, he put on some muscle and he got a little more technical, and you know, he still does the high flying spots, but he just looks more like a wrestler now, and he does more technical style at certain parts of the match. And particularly over the past couple of years in New Japan, he's really blossomed and become the star. And I watched one match that he had on New Japan World that was in Rev Pro. And because they've got some Rev Pro matches on New Japan World, and it was against, I think the kid's name was Ricky Knight Jr. Was that like Paige's nephew? I think is who it was. Yeah,
it is. Yes.
Yeah.
He's just arrived in the EW.
Well, Zach Knight is her brother, right? Ricky Knight Jr. I think is the nephew.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
They put on a fantastic match. And I watched it when I was home from work one day. I was sick with COVID. And I'd logged into New Japan World. I was laying in bed with like 100-degree temperature watching this match. And it was absolutely phenomenal. And the crowd was super white hot for it. And I mean, it was just, in my estimation, it was a 5-star match. I loved it. And I'd never seen or heard about it anywhere other than just me randomly coming upon it on New Japan World. So I'm sure there's a lot of classic matches like that Ospreay's had outside of New Japan that I'm just not even aware of.
The one which has been mentioned a lot recently is the last Rev Pro show, which is Will versus Michael Oko.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the last. I think that's the last Rev Pro show. Do you remember George, who's been on the show? He actually went to that. So maybe we should do highs and lows for Will.
Yeah,
we could do that. Yeah.
So we're take it
sorry,
away,
you know, you go, Liam. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. So we're at 1 hour 12. I think I was time to wrap this show. Otherwise, we'll be here for another hour. Do you know what I mean? But it's been a fun show. Do you know what I mean? We've got everybody involved, and this is what we like to see, Mr. Isaacs, in it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these are the most fun shows that we have, where we just engage with the audience and just work off of what each other says. I mean, that's my favorite style of podcast.
Absolutely. So let's obviously what we've got for the rest of the week. There's no garage tonight. That's obviously for Revolution tomorrow.
No, the garage tonight has been postponed. We're going to do a special Revolution post-show edition of the garage tomorrow night, and so be looking forward to that. It'll be on immediately when Revolution ends, which is probably going to be around midnight. Let's be honest here. So if you're awake and you're up, tune into that, and we'll recap the events of the evening and give our thoughts on it, and probably have some other shenanigans too. I'm sure Canada Dry is going to poke me to talk and do more of a Liam impression, so you could tune in for that.
It was funny to get the reaction of some of the you guys in stateside with the WWE show in Perth, you know. It's like that. It's like, oh, I had to get up and like for the show, and it's like poor you. We do this every.
This is normal for us.
It's like 4 a.m. for you guys.
Pretty much. This is just normal. Do you know what I mean? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Dear, but of course, the magic of wrestling is back this Tuesday as I talk to Shazza McKenzie, the one who's worked for Rev Pro, Tidal, WWE, AEW. I think she's been everywhere. I'm sure I remember reading her career.
That's
Even
a big
Shimmer.
She's the bride as well. She's been up here. What was it, Liam? Wrestling before at that promotion I was telling you. So she's been everywhere.
And the key one I'm excited to talk about is Shimmer, because she's worked with some of the biggest UK talent. Well, basically the top women in the UK, in the world. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a good episode. Everybody needs to tune in and listen to that one. I'm gonna check that one. It'll be in the middle of my work day, but I'll tune in on my phone while I'm working.
So that's at Tuesday. I think it's 9 o'clock. I'll have to double check that. 9 p.m. Which 9 p.m. our time. What time's that yours?
I guess it would be. You're 4 hours ahead of me, I think, right?
I thought it was 5.
You're 4 hours. No, you're 5 hours ahead of me. Okay, so that's like 4 p.m. my time.
Yep.
Okay.
So, and next week I'm going to be at obviously a wrestling show, but we're always going to get content out regardless. Is that fair, Mr. Isaacs?
Yeah, we'll figure something out. I mean, if I have to go solo, I'll go solo, or Liam and I'll record something, or we'll figure something out. Yeah. So stay tuned for that. We'll figure it out.
Absolutely. So if you guys want a t-shirt, you can head to prowrestlingtees.com/effing wrestling. You can get the Magic of Wrestling t-shirt, which is not even model. What am I on about? The All Left in Wrestling shirt, which is modeled by Natalia Markovic. See, I jumped the gun a little bit there. And of course, Mr. Isaacs, tell everybody about the old school.
If you like old school wrestling, and I know you do, you can go to prowrestlingtees.com/Adrian Adonis, who has been on a recent episode of the Vice documentary series Dark Side of the Ring. Get your Adrian Adonis t-shirt today.
Did you see the snippet of Haku seeing the Shockmaster thing?
I did. That was funny.
I thought that was great.
The Shockmaster.
Right then, who wants to end the show? Are we going to let the birthday boy do it? Or do you
Sure.
want to do it, Mr. Isaacs?
Let Mr. Haney do it.
No, I mean, I'm not good with the sort of positive sort of words because I'm the salty.
Well, we'll just keep it kind of short and brief here. We're all about positivity here at Effin Wrestling. You got to keep a good head on your shoulders. We're a supportive community. We're all here for you. Step forward if you need some help. Any of us will talk to you, and we're here for you. We're gonna make it through whatever issues we've got going on in our lives, everybody. So just keep that in mind. Throw that fist in the air, and just keep fighting.